When I go into a Vegas casino, I'm Mr. B. I'm not Steve Budin anymore. They know the cigarettes I smoke. They know the drink I'm going to drink. They have it ready for me at the table. And there's nothing like that experience.
And welcome to Pocket Protection in association with TDR, brought to you by Bet99 Sportsbook. Every game starts at Bet99.com. We are responsible gambling. I'm Ryan Doyle. That is Steve Budin. We've made it to the home stretch, the end, at least the finale of the regular season, Steve.
Well, it never really ends if you're a true gambler, right? But it is the end of the regular football season. And, it brings up some interesting maneuvers, strategies. As a handicapper, do you stick with your guns? What do you do here in this last week? I think that's what everyone's contemplating at this moment.
Yeah, this used to be one of my favorite weeks. I'm going to go back and say when it was week 17, before the league expanded the football schedule. I used to go to Vegas. This used to be sort of my sabbatical, my week away from everything. I would be the D-gen living either in like Planet Hollywood or Bally's. By the way, Bally's got rid of their sportsbook. Did you hear about this? I'm going to go way off topic here. Bally's got rid of the old school lunch bucket blue collar sportsbook that I love so much, and they put in a fucking arcade. Do you know how much that upsets me?
Sign of the times. I mean, the arcades are replacing, table games. Kiosks are replacing sports books. Look, at the end of the day, I get the convenience thing, but there's something about tradition to be said. There's something about history. There's something about talking to people, interacting with people. As someone who's been in the casino business, who got his start at Bally's in Las Vegas at 21 years old, I think, if the casino business is going to look to replace, man-to-man interaction with technology, they're going to lose to online casinos. What makes it so special at the end is being able to dress up, be whoever you want to be, go outside of yourself, become a character. When I go into a Vegas casino, I'm Mr. B. I'm not Steve Budin anymore. They know the cigarettes I smoke. They know the drink I'm going to drink. They have it ready for me at the table. And there's nothing like that experience. You want to sit in your underwear and wager $25 to $100 a hand on blackjack in your room on your computer, you're missing the point.
You're missing the point. And back to my main point, which is I got way off topic on it, although it all kind of dovetails together. That used to be my week. I'd go for College Bowl. I'd get up, and it was the same thing. My nickname in Vegas is Canada, because that's where I'm from, and it was given to me by a guy who had some interesting ties to some interesting people. Let's just leave it at that. And they would know me.
The kind of guys that give out nicknames. You know what I mean?
There's like a center for nicknames, and I looked at the guy, and he's like, your name's Canada from now on. So people know when I go in, and the Bloody Mary is waiting for me. I don't smoke, but if I have an occasional cigar, they'll know exactly what I like to smoke. And College Football Bowl week was great for me because I could relax, unwind, and then sort of the pinnacle of it all, the cherry on the sundae, was week 17 because the lines are crazy. They're absolutely bananas. They're all over the place. You could sit on an NFL morning, and week 17 and now week 18 just looks different. It feels different. It's got a different vibe to it. It's got a different stank to it, Steve.
Well, first of all, let's go back to the nickname topic, because I love, this is a pet peeve of mine, being from the sportsbook industry and having gotten my start on the streets as a street bookmaker, well-storied history there. I used to love these bookmakers that would get you on the phone. Yeah, and their name was Tom or John or whatever, but this is Bobby. Every bookmaker's name was Bobby. They changed their names. Like, let me tell you, if the FBI is listening to your phone, they know your name. I don't care what name you use. You can use any name you want. It's like the drug dealers that was like, I need 2 oranges. I need 2 boxes of bananas. Listen, they know you're not selling oranges, pal. If they're listening to your phone, you're done. Game is over. So just use your real name. Save some dignity. But anyway, I don't want to get off on a rant, but that's just how I feel about that. As far as week 18 goes, if you're a handicapper's handicapper like you are, this is a great week because you're going up against novices who are going to shape these lines, not really look too far deep into which teams need to win, which teams don't, which teams will be starting their starters because, they're looking for guys out there need to earn positions for next year, so they'll be playing all out, which teams will be resting and protecting their starters as they get ready for the postseason. All this stuff goes into play, and you could feel one way or the other about it. That's not the point. The point is that there's a lot of gamblers who don't even pay attention to that. They look at the brand names that they've been betting all year long. They look at the lines. They continue to look at those lines through the lens of games that occurred the entire season without these type of situational elements involved. And with that, you can usually find value if you're a handicapper's handicapper. If you're not, I'd suggest, taking your foot off the gas here.
Yeah, and listen, before we get into the games, I'm going to give you just a little tip, a little tidbit. And, it's good because this is the one thing you can use social media for as a gambler, because the information is out there. If you're into prop betting, look at some of the players that need to make specific moves, let's say. A guy needs 5 receptions to get $500K in bonus money. A guy needs 20 yards to get to a certain level to click his bonus in. Those are the kind of prop bets you want to make this week. And now, of course, the book is going to know that information too. But if you're smart, if you're wise, there's some value out there, especially if you're piling those player props together. There's some money to be made because those players aren't leaving that money on the table.
Not without an extreme effort, correct.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's crack it down, shall we? We start off with Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks, -5 versus the LA Rams. The total here, 41.5.
Yeah, down a little bit. I think they opened up around 6, down to 5, so people are betting them because they're eyeing a postseason spot. They had the mercy kill against the Jets. It's a must-win for Seattle, who can, with a little help from their friends, they need Detroit to beat Green Bay or they're shit out of luck. The Rams are 8-3 straight up last 11 against Seattle. They've covered 7 of the last 8 in the series, including a win and cover in their last 2 trips to the Emerald City. Rams have what seems to be, to me, an upgrade at quarterback with Baker Mayfield. He's playing for his professional life. It's one of those scenarios that we talked about just a minute ago. He's completed 67% of his passes, 4-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's averaged 174 yards passing per game with a 2-2 record since coming to the Rams. Also, the LA rushing game has gotten a boost. Cam Akers, past few games, 54 carries, 306 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. That's the last 3 weeks. He's gaining about 5.7 yards per carry. It's worth noting that the LA defense, though, they were lit up like a Christmas tree right around Christmas last week by Charger quarterback Justin Herbert. But I will say 2 things. Must-wins don't equal covers.
Yes.
And Smith is in Herbert, so give me LA.
Yeah, open up the kennel, get out the kibble. It's time to feed the dogs. I am all over the Los Angeles Rams here. I watched that game against the Chargers. I actually had over the total, I believe, was 41.5 last week against the Chargers. They breezed by that. Both teams were clicking. Both teams were scoring. I was a little concerned about the Rams' defense, but that was against a great quarterback like Justin Herbert. Geno Smith, as you say, is not Justin Herbert, and I like getting points in this situation. I wish I had caught this at 6. I was sleeping. That's my fault. I like it still at 5. Give me the Los Angeles Rams. Wouldn't touch the total here. I think this game might be divisionally competitive. They might lean on Akers a little bit more, slow that game down. But give me the Rams plus the 5 points.
And let me go back and say earlier when I first started, I said that it went from 6 to 5. They're betting the Seahawks. I meant 6 to 5. They're betting the Rams. So let me just correct that before everyone starts emailing me. Yeah, boo, you know what you're talking about. You're supposed to be a pro. What are you talking? Like, all right, I got it. I caught it. We're good.
Before Vegas removes your Mr. B nickname.
Oh my God, you're a bum, Budin. That's what I get from across the street.
Let's talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles minus a big 14 points versus the New York Giants. The total here, 43.5.
Yeah, so who would have thought 2 straight losses later and the Eagles find themselves in what I think is a must-win situation if they want to lock up the NFC East and grab themselves a bye in the first round of the playoffs. Good news is Jalen Hurts is available at quarterback for the first time in 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Giants are locked into that 6th seed, so they're going to be out for air, not looking to put their top players at risk. I expect mostly scrubs from Big Blue. That plus the fact that on December 11th, Philly, with a healthy Hurts, ran up a 48-22 score at the Meadowlands, a place where Hurts doesn't usually play well in that wind at that time of the year, and they crushed them. And now they're at home where the Birds have been like spotless at the link, 6-1 straight up and versus the line with Hurts in the lineup. Don't let the big line scare you here. I'm on the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm on the Eagles as well. I mean, this is going to be a statement game for them. They have struggled to find it without Justin Hurts without Jalen Hurts rather in the lineup. With him there, with him back, they're going to need a statement game to go into the playoffs to say, hey, we're still the big shit on campus. I think the Giants are going to be the victim of that here. As you say, I think the Giants, what do they have to play for here? I don't think anything, really. They're just going to sit there. You're not going to see the starters come out for much of the game, if any at all. So give me the Philadelphia Eagles minus the 14 points. Miami minus 2.5 against the New York Jets. Last time this year, we have to talk about the Jets, Steve. 38.5 the total.
Miami's lost 5 straight games. I think that gives us a little value here in this game if you're betting the Dolphins. Look, this has historically been somewhat of a de facto Super Bowl for Dolphin fans with not much else to root for. Usually at this time of the year when the Jets roll into town, about half that stadium will be in green. Dolphins enter Week 18 8-8. They got a solid shot to reach the playoffs. Miami needs to beat the Jets, and they need Buffalo to beat New England. So I think Buffalo will beat New England. I don't have high hopes for the Dolphins because remember the Dolphins' Week 5 meeting with New York. Tua was out for that one, and Teddy Bridgewater was knocked out of that game in his first series. That left who? Skylar Thompson at the wheel, and the Jets won 40-17. You fast forward 3 months later, and it's deja vu. Tua out, Bridgewater out, and who's at the wheel again? Thompson. I'll take the Jets.
The Miami Dolphins in the offseason are going to have to look themselves in the mirror and figure out whether or not they've got the right formula for success. Yeah. This is an absolute train wreck. This went from a really good football team to an unmitigated disaster in 0 to 100 real quick. I think the Dolphins are going to have to look at the idea of perhaps moving on from Tua. I think they're going to have to look at the idea of maybe moving on from their boy wonderkind head coach, because I don't think in bad times this guy is the right remedy or the right medicine for a team that is struggling. So in that, all being said, I like the New York Jets, and I don't understand what's going on with the Dolphins. It is wild to see how they've fallen from grace.
Yeah, I think with Sean Payton available and a lot of teams in need of a head coach, we will see him somewhere coaching football next year, and whoever gets him will be lucky to have him.
South Beach is nice this time of year and almost every time of year. Green Bay minus 4.5 against the Detroit Lions. Total here 49.5.
So Green Bay controls its own destiny now, and Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be looking to pull off his 5th straight win, go from 0 to hero, from 4-8 on Thanksgiving weekend and the laugh of the town to a wild card bid in the toast of the town. Rodgers has been vintage in the comeback, but last week's 41-17 demolition of fake-ass Minnesota was because of the Packer defense and their special teams. The Pack have held opponents to 17 points the last 4 weeks, and last week the defense and the special teams both scored touchdowns. Remember, too, Green Bay was up 41-3 against Minnie with less than 8 minutes to play. They scored some BS points at the end that made it look a little better than it really was. Detroit's been good to us all season long. We've made money with Detroit, right? But we cannot have any loyalty to a team. Our only loyalty must be to our pockets. Green Bay is too hot to handle. I'm going with the Packers here, the Packer back.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. I like the Green Bay Packers here, minus 4.5. I like them all the way to the NFC conference game, to be honest with you. I think this team is red hot at the right time. You're right. The Lions have been our sweethearts, our darlings. We've talked about them week in and week out. We've made bank off of them.
They've been our best hooker on the corner.
They really have, in a way. And now you look at this and you think to yourself, okay, well, Detroit, do we love them here? No, we don't. I mean, the Green Bay defense is really looking good. I think that the connection between Rodgers and his receivers is finally getting there. They've got a decent ground game going on. Give me the Packers minus the 4.5, which I think is kind of a light line. So, yeah, Green Bay over the Detroit Lions. We're going to come right back. We've got so much more to talk about. The San Francisco 49ers against the Cardinals, Dallas, Washington, and what to make of Buffalo, New England after a very traumatic week in Western New York. That's still to come as Pocket Protection continues.
As a world champion, when I walked out of the tunnel, I knew I prepared to win. I still do today. Every game starts at Bet99.net.
Welcome to Bet99.net, Canada's home for all your favorite free-to-play casino games, slots, live dealer tables, and progressive jackpots, including Mega Moolah. At Bet99.net, you could be a winner today.
Welcome back to Pocket Protection in association with TDR, brought to you by Bet99 Sportsbook. Every game starts at Bet99.com. We are responsible gambling. Let's just pick up where we left off. Week 18, San Francisco 49ers minus another big spread here, Steve. 14 points against the Arizona Cardinals, who have been pretty much irrelevant all season. Total 39.5.
Well, bookmakers are clearly gambling, forcing gamblers, to bet big numbers, and trying to, make them scare them off of lines, as there's one team that's got a pulse and one team that doesn't in several games this week. The Cardinals got an old-fashioned ass-whooping from the 49ers in Mexico City. That was November 21st, my birthday, by the way. The Cards got 27 years old, just in case you want to know.
You're looking out a day over 26.
That's in dog years. The Cards couldn't compete without Kyler Murray. Now Murray and Colt McCoy are both out. I don't see how the Birds compete in this one. I think the Cards are on the verge of a complete and thorough house cleaning, from the coach to all key positions. Same position that you talked about with Miami. The Niners can lock up the NFC's second seed with the win, have a chance at that first seed if the Eagles lose to the Giants. Good luck there. And they're rolling too. 9 straight wins, 11-1 straight up, 10-2 versus the line. Their only outright loss to the Chiefs since mid-season. San Francisco defense, they need a feel-good performance after last week's half-ass performance. I think this will be that game for them. So I'm going to go with San Francisco here, minus the big bulge.
Yeah, I don't think this is a game you should overthink all that much. I agree. And, we've been saying since the beginning of the season that Kingsbury, it needs to go in Arizona, that he's not the right fit, that Kyler Murray isn't the right fit. I mean, I don't want to say that we're savants here on this show, but we've been pretty damn right and pretty damn accurate most of the time. So I'll take my victory lap on that. I like the Niners here. I thought they struggled against the Raiders, but I thought also that they didn't have a lot of tape on Stidham. They weren't prepared for some of the things that the Raiders threw at them. And then as the game progressed, they started to get more comfortable. I think defensively here, this is an opponent that they know, and a coach that they know quite well, and a coach that they will have no trouble beating the living hell out of. San Francisco minus 14 is definitely the play in that game. Dallas Cowboys minus 7. Little bit of a light line here against the Washington Commanders. Can hardly get the name out. The Washington Commanders, who I'm not sure what their identity is now. Total here 41.
Yeah, I mean, live by the Wentz, die by the Wentz. After a moment of excellence, Wentz was awful last Sunday at versus Cleveland. He failed to deliver with the season on the line, just like last season in the finale with the Colts. And when people show you who they are, believe them. The Cowboys suddenly aren't as locked into that NFC's 5th seed as it seemed that they would be over the past month. The Eagles stumbled, and the boys can steal the NFC East and the top seed in the playoffs. So will they risk playing Dak, or will they rest him? Doesn't matter to me. Give me Cooper Rush. He already beat Washington on the road 25-10. If it's Dak, great. I've mentioned it before. Dak does his best against the non-elite, like he did versus Indy in that 54-19 win. With no reason to take it easy, recent history suggests that the Cowboys likely won't take it easy. I'm going with the boys here. Once again, Dallas minus the bulge.
Have we disagreed on anything today? I think we're on a straight train of agreement, which is, it doesn't happen often. I don't have anything more to add to what Steve said. I think the Cowboys are the right play here. Minus 7 is a light line, as I alluded to. I think they probably win this game by more than double digits. I think the Commanders' season is basically just blown apart. I think they've got a bit of a rebuild going on. That quarterback position is going to have to be something they address in the offseason. And I do think the Cowboys like to have punching bags. And Washington is the prime punching bag for the Dallas Cowboys coming up on Sunday. Buffalo, minus 7 versus the New England Patriots, 42.5 the total. And let me just start by saying this. We have started this week with a player who most people thought was lying dead on the field in Cincinnati. You fast forward a couple of days, and we are now hearing reports that not only is he breathing, not only is he alert and alive, he's talking to his teammates. He addressed them just on Friday. They had a conversation. He talked about, what it was like being in the hospital. His teammates are all there. There's tears coming down their eyes. How can you not back the Buffalo Bills to win this game by 1 million this week? Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. DeMar Hamlin's alive. Thank you, Jesus. Doctors, though, still mum on the causes and conditions behind the collapse, so we'll leave that speculation to Alex Jones, not me. As far as handicapping this game, this is the first of the season for me. I got no freaking idea. I kind of feel like you, like the Bills are going to come out like they were shot out of a cannon and score 4 touchdowns in the first half. But if they had an emotional hangover, wouldn't you understand that too? I mean, I know I have an emotional hangover over this. This is a win and you're in game for the Patriots. Victory here would send the Patriots to the playoffs for the 19th time in 22 seasons. These teams played on the 1st of December. Buffalo won easy, 24-10.
On my birthday?
Yeah, on your
I'm
birthday.
21.
Nice. Don't look a day over 19.
Thank
you. New England's defense, right back at you. New England's defense, too bad. I don't have hair on my head. Too bad back hair isn't a thing. If back hair was a thing, man, I'd be a stud. I'd be like an Adonis. I'd be on the beach showing it off. But anyway.
How much back hair do you have?
Too much. Any back hair is too much.
Like, are you like a grizzly bear back there?
I remove it. I have to.
You don't.
I don't. I have my girl do it for me, and she does it. Because and it's funny because when she gets it all out and puts it in the toilet, it looks like someone's drowning in there. You know what I mean? You want to pull them out. You know what I mean? But what I don't do, and you'd be very proud of me. You ever see those bald guys that grow the ponytail?
Oh yeah.
So they're bald everywhere, but they just want to show everybody, hey, I can still grow hair from somewhere.
Got it.
If you don't grow hair from the right places, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. Just dig it all off. You know what I mean? Just, my kids call me Mr. Clean. It's the nicest thing anyone's ever called me in my life. So anyway, New England's defense and special teams have been amazing lately. Patriots have scored special teams or a defensive touchdown in each of the last 4 weeks, 6 of the last 8 weeks. So, again, who do you bet here? You're probably right, but I'll say it again. I don't know. Gun to my head, I take the points. That's the standard protocol when you really don't know what to do. It's not a game I would bet without a gun to my head. So for purposes of conjecture and being on different sides, I'll take Patriots plus the points.
All right, I like that. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, the other team involved in all of that against the Baltimore Ravens, coming up total here 40.5.
Yeah, this should be a simple choice. You have two teams on different sides of the momentum mountain lately. Baltimore took the first meeting 19-17 thanks to 4 Justin Tucker field goals and a Lamar Jackson touchdown pass. But probably with no Jackson, I don't see a pathway for Baltimore. The home field and the superior quarterback leaves me with the Bengals as the only choice. And even if Jackson plays, it's still hard to bet him on his first week back after the long layoff. So either way, I'm on Cincy, but I'd wait till the last minute here. The line will go down if it's a Jackson start. So just hang on and see. I'm going to bet Cincinnati.
Yeah, you're stealing my notes here. This is annoying. I think you've got to wait till at least right before kickoff to figure out exactly who's going to be QBing this team. And if you like Cincinnati, of course, you want to wait. If you like Baltimore, now would be the time to lock in and take them. But I do like the Cincinnati Bengals here. I will wait for a better number. But I just think that Baltimore is still going to need a couple of games to figure it out with Lamar Jackson under center. And I still, I say this every week about Baltimore. Who the hell's catching the ball for them? Like, are these guys in the witness protection program? I never heard of these individuals. So for me, it's a simple one. Cincinnati, wait for a nice line before kickoff. We finish up with the Minnesota Vikings, -7.5 at the Chicago Bears, total 42.5.
Right. So, Mini, they can still match Philly's 13 wins and get ahead of San Francisco. But they do have tiebreaker issues against Philly. That's going to hurt them and haunt them. Mini also needs an unlikely San Francisco loss at home to Arizona, and that won't happen. So they're looking at third position rather than second position, in my opinion. The Bears are bad. They're the bad news Bears. 0-9 straight up, 2-7 versus the spread the last 9 games. They give up 34.5 points per game in that stretch. They've been outscored 32-14 on average over the last 5 games. I got a ton of more stuff. There's no reason to read it. Justin Fields, just no reason. You get the point. Justin Fields, he's overworked now. He's injured. Minnesota doesn't want to go into the playoffs, on a 2-game losing streak. So they will bring it. So I like Mini here. Play Minnesota.
Yeah, I also like Minnesota's team total. I think that when you look at the line here, 42.5, I actually like the over in this game. I know that sounds surprising with all what Steve said about the Bears, but I think Minnesota, may blow the doors off and put a big number up. And, of course, the Bears are capable of scoring, 3 to 10 points. So give me the Minnesota team total. I will take the Vikings as well here, just not to sound repetitive, but everything Steve said. And the over at 42.5. I'm going to take that as well because that seems very low to me. Even with the weather and the cold, I still think that this shoots well over 42.5. And that is my final pick of the regular season right there. Steve Budin, always a pleasure, my friend. We will, of course, tackle the playoffs. We got the Super Bowl coming up. All sorts of great things as we continue through Pocket Protection. Nice to see you again, my friend.
We're about to get down to the nitty-gritty next week, so hang in there. Don't blow your bankroll. Save some.
Nitty-gritty, not just a dirt band anymore. Pocket Protection in association with TDR, brought to you by Bet99 Sportsbook. Every game starts at Bet99.com. We are responsible gambling.